What if Captain America: Civil War had been completely different? Imagine a film where Iron Man and Spider-Man were nowhere to be found, and the villain wasn't Zemo but a mind-controlling bomb that turned innocent people into violent mobs.
All the superheroes in this movie, they've been able to match the superheroes up pretty well.
That's the original plan for Civil War, and today, we're diving deep into the untold story behind its evolution. Stay tuned because what you're about to hear could have completely changed the MCU as we know it. But before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. The concept for Captain America: Civil War. The original vision for Captain America: Civil War was a continuation of the themes and tone established by Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The creative team, led by writers Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, aimed to delve deeper into Steve Rogers' journey, focusing on his relationship with Bucky Barnes. This narrative direction reflected their intent to craft a personal and morally charged story. At the center of the plot was the Mad Bomb, a devastating device from Marvel Comics capable of turning ordinary civilians into violent mobs. This element was not just a narrative tool for chaos, it symbolized the erosion of societal trust and the manipulation of individuals by unseen forces. Baron Zemo, the antagonist, planned to unleash the Mad Bomb to create mass panic, forcing Captain America into a moral quandary. How could he stop innocent people without violating his own principles? This storyline was set to conclude with a climactic battle where Steve Rogers faced berserk civilians and allies who had fallen under the Mad Bomb's control. The emotional weight of fighting those he sought to protect would have tested Captain America's resolve and added significant depth to his character. The grounded tone, combined with themes of loyalty, morality, and redemption, mirrored the political intrigue that made The Winter Soldier a success. However, while this narrative was compelling, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige felt it lacked the blockbuster scope necessary to elevate Captain America 3 beyond its predecessor. This realization set the stage for a dramatic pivot in the film's direction. The evolution into Civil War. The decision to adapt the Civil War storyline from Marvel Comics marked a significant shift in the development of Captain America 3. Feige proposed the idea during early discussions, recognizing its potential to captivate audiences with a larger-than-life conflict between Marvel's most iconic heroes, Captain America and Iron Man. This narrative offered not just spectacle but an exploration of ideological divisions within the superhero community. The film's central conflict revolved around the Sokovia Accords, a fictional framework for regulating superhero activity. Unlike the Superhero Registration Act in the comics, which required heroes to reveal their identities, the Sokovia Accords focused on accountability and oversight. This adjustment made the conflict more relatable to the MCU's established world, where global events and collateral damage had already created tension between heroes and governments. Steve Rogers and Tony Stark became the embodiments of opposing philosophies. Steve, representing individual freedom and accountability, stood against government intervention, while Tony, grappling with guilt over his past actions, believed in the necessity of oversight. This ideological clash was not just a plot device but a reflection of broader societal debates about freedom, security, and the responsibilities of power. The narrative also introduced personal stakes, with the revelation of Bucky Barnes' involvement in Tony Stark's parents' deaths adding emotional weight to the conflict. This twist transformed the story from a mere ideological debate into a deeply personal struggle, further enriching the film's complexity. Adapting the Civil War narrative. The turning point for Captain America 3 came when Kevin Feige proposed adapting the Civil War storyline from the comics. This decision was driven by the need to elevate the film's scale and ambition, positioning it as a direct competitor to Warner Bros.' Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Feige's vision was to pit two of the MCU's most iconic heroes, Captain America and Iron Man, against each other. This narrative shift allowed the filmmakers to delve into ideological conflicts, exploring themes of accountability, freedom, and the responsibilities of power. The clash between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark became the centerpiece of the story, with each character embodying opposing philosophies. In the context of the MCU, the Sokovia Accords replaced the Superhero Registration Act from the comics. This fictional treaty, introduced as a response to the collateral damage caused by superhero battles, served as the catalyst for the conflict. While Steve Rogers viewed the Accords as a threat to personal liberty, Tony Stark saw them as a necessary step towards accountability. This ideological divide wasn't just a narrative device, it was a reflection of real-world debates about freedom, security, and the balance between individual rights and collective responsibility. The shift to Civil War also provided an opportunity to introduce new characters and expand the MCU's roster of heroes. However, this transition wasn't without challenges, as it required significant changes to the film's structure and tone. Behind-the-scenes battles and the power struggle. The decision to adapt Civil War ignited intense debates within Marvel Studios. The New York-based creative committee, led by Ike Perlmutter, was known for its conservative approach and stringent budget controls. Perlmutter and the committee initially opposed Feige's plans, citing concerns about the film's budget and the feasibility of including Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. These disagreements led to significant tension between Feige and the committee. At one point, the committee even proposed replacing Iron Man with Bruce Banner, Hulk, as the opposing team leader. This idea, however, was quickly dismissed by the creative team, who felt that Tony Stark's inclusion was essential to the story's emotional and ideological core. The Russo brothers, who directed the film, also clashed with the committee over creative decisions. Frustrated by the interference, Feige took his concerns directly to Disney CEO Bob Iger. Recognizing the importance of Feige's leadership, Iger granted him full creative control over Marvel Studios, effectively sidelining the committee. This decision not only ensured the realization of Civil War, but also marked a turning point for Marvel Studios as a creative powerhouse. Expanding the MCU, introducing Spider-Man and Black Panther. The shift to Civil War allowed Marvel Studios to introduce new characters that would play pivotal roles in the MCU's future. Among these were Spider-Man and Black Panther, both of whom added depth and diversity to the narrative. Spider-Man's inclusion was the result of a groundbreaking agreement between Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. This deal allowed Spider-Man to join the MCU while Sony retained creative control over his standalone films. Feige's vision for Spider-Man emphasized youth and relatability, distinguishing this iteration from previous portrayals. Tom Holland was cast as the young hero, bringing a fresh energy to the character. Black Panther's debut was equally significant. T'Challa, played by Chadwick Boseman, brought a regal presence and a rich cultural heritage to the MCU. His journey from a grieving prince to a wise leader mirrored the larger conflicts within the film, adding emotional depth and complexity. Black Panther's introduction also set the stage for his solo film, which would become a cultural and critical milestone. The challenges of expanding the cast. Adapting Civil War required the inclusion of multiple characters, many of whom were new to the MCU. This posed significant challenges for the creative team, as they had to balance an expansive ensemble cast while maintaining narrative cohesion. Spider-Man. Negotiating Spider-Man's entry into the MCU was a major hurdle. Sony and Marvel had to come to an agreement for the web-slinger to join the MCU. Marvel wanted a younger actor to differentiate their version of Peter Parker from previous portrayals. Tom Holland was ultimately cast after multiple auditions, despite initial reluctance from Sony about his youthful appearance. Holland's portrayal of Spider-Man was designed to be more relatable and youthful, marking a significant shift from Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's versions. On set, Holland faced the challenge of having his scenes rewritten to fit into the already tight shooting schedule. Notably, Robert Downey Jr. advocated for keeping the scenes with Holland intact, underscoring the importance of Spider-Man's debut and ensuring that his introduction left a lasting impact on the audience. Black Panther. Black Panther's inclusion was just as challenging. With Robert Downey Jr.'s participation uncertain for a time, the creative team looked to introduce a new character who would bring fresh energy to the MCU. T'Challa, the Black Panther, portrayed by Chadwick Boseman. His role added an important layer to the narrative, both in terms of cultural significance and story depth. T'Challa's journey from a grieving son to a future king was central to his character development, and Boseman's powerful performance ensured that Black Panther stood out as an essential character in Civil War. His introduction also set the stage for the success of his standalone film, Black Panther, which would later become a cultural milestone. Wasp and Red Hulk. While Civil War aimed to introduce multiple new heroes, the filmmakers realized that they needed to be strategic about which characters they included. Hope Van Dyne, who had been introduced in Ant-Man as a key character, was initially considered for inclusion in the film as the Wasp. However, the filmmakers felt that the audience hadn't yet connected with her character enough to warrant her superhero debut in such a crowded ensemble film. The decision was made to hold off on the Wasp's appearance until Ant-Man and the Wasp, ensuring that Hope's character arc could be fully explored before she donned the suit. Similarly, Thaddeus Ross's transformation into the Red Hulk was considered for inclusion but ultimately postponed. The filmmakers recognized that the backstory for Ross' transformation into Red Hulk would need more time for proper development, something that the film simply didn't have the room for. As a result, the Red Hulk storyline was pushed to the future as the filmmakers opted to focus on the central characters of Civil War. These decisions show how carefully Marvel Studios balanced expanding the universe while ensuring each character was given the attention they deserved. Whether it was introducing Spider-Man and Black Panther or making the tough call to delay other characters, the team behind Civil War worked to create a film that served the existing narrative while building toward the future of the MCU. Behind-the-scenes power struggles. The transition to Civil War wasn't without its share of internal conflict. Marvel's New York-based creative committee, led by Ike Perlmutter, initially resisted Feige's vision. Known for their frugal approach and tight control over budgets, the committee questioned the financial feasibility of including Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, given his high salary demands. Feige's insistence on Downey's involvement stemmed from his belief that Tony Stark was integral to the story. The creative committee, however, proposed alternative approaches, including replacing Iron Man with Bruce Banner, Hulk, as the opposing team leader. This suggestion failed to resonate with the Russo brothers and the writers, who felt that Stark's ideological clash with Steve Rogers was the heart of the story. The growing tension between Feige and the committee reached a breaking point, prompting Feige to appeal directly to Disney CEO Bob Iger. Iger, recognizing Feige's contributions to Marvel's success, granted him full creative control over Marvel Studios. This decision sidelined the creative committee and marked a turning point in Marvel's operations, empowering Feige to pursue bold and ambitious projects. The legacy of Captain America: Civil War. Captain America: Civil War became a critical and commercial triumph, grossing over $1 billion worldwide. Its exploration of ideological conflict, personal sacrifice, and the complexities of heroism resonated deeply with audiences, solidifying its place as one of the MCU's most impactful films. The unresolved tension between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark provided a rich foundation for future films, culminating in their poignant reunion in Avengers: Endgame. Additionally, the film's introduction of characters like Spider-Man and Black Panther laid the groundwork for some of the MCU's most beloved franchises. Beyond its narrative impact, Civil War represented a turning point for Marvel Studios as an institution. By resolving internal power struggles and empowering Kevin Feige, the film paved the way for ambitious projects like Infinity War and Endgame. And that's the untold story behind the making of Captain America: Civil War. What do you think? Would you have preferred the original Mad Bomb story, or did Feige's gamble pay off in the end? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss more deep dives into your favorite movies.